Hello, Max NG7M here, and if you're watching this video, you probably found it because I posted a for sale for my Tokyo High Power HL-2500FX. And I'm going to try to do this in one take, but the intent of the video here is to show the amplifier's condition, operating condition across all the bands. And I've got 3 video cameras going. I've got one on me here, kind of you can see the messy shack in the background. So I won't be focused on the camera the whole time. But I've got a camera on the K3 which will be driving the Tokyo High Power 2500FX. And this is my sophisticated presentation here. I've got WordPad up, so this is the model. And just a little bit of background on this amplifier. As if you do your research, you'll find out Tokyo High Power closed their doors right in December of 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And the HL-2500FX was their flagship amplifier. They were just getting ready to manufacture these in mass quantities. They had built 40 or 50, I hear conflicting numbers. And what I find on the internet is it appears that about 20 were shipped to North America or United States. And so based on the serial number of the one I have, this one appears to be number 17, I'm assuming, of those 20 that were shipped to North America. So background on how I obtained the amplifier, as luck would have it, the original buyer of this, who is a silent key now, Kilo 7 Kilo Charlie, and that call sign's now belongs to a club in his memory, really. He bought this right as Tokyo High Power went out of business, right within a matter of weeks since he bought it, and I think the retail was around $7,000 US. And so apparently he must have got it at the end of 2013, right at the end there. And I didn't know K7KC, but a good friend of his who managed the estate sale, actually there are a couple of good hams locally that managed the estate sale, had this up for sale, and I was fortunate enough to pick it up. And K7KC, interestingly enough, lived like 5 miles from me in Utah, northern Utah here. And so K7KC, I don't know the circumstances around his when he went silent. There is a silent key, but I understand he had I think it was Parkinson's, so he didn't really use the amplifier very much, and you'll be able to tell based upon the pictures of the inside that I have. And you can see those pictures, this URL here, and I'll put a link in the YouTube description area too, so you can easily get to these links here. The static pictures that you'll look at are directly of ones I've taken. So anyway, back to K7KC, is complete full disclosure. He he scratched it up a little bit, so the edge of the bezel and things were scratched up, and the case had some scratches on it. So I've effectively restored it without going crazy, right? I had the main case professionally repowder coated. It looks brand new. It looks great. And then I put I think it looks good too, a subtle wrinkle paint border around the front plate and just inside the bezel. But other than that, it's in great shape. It's been used very little. I've used it, tested it out quite a bit. I kind of have amplifier disease. I may regret selling this, but I've got another amplifier on order, and I have a SPE 2KFA that is just an awesome amplifier. And so guys that get into HF QRO amplifiers, it really becomes a disease. But so this video is primarily just to show the operating condition of this amplifier and to get it out there, right? There wasn't very many of these made. And so that, again, I'll probably kick myself for selling this, and it'll be a fraction of that original $1,000 price tag. So it's a full US legal limit amplifier. And of course you're going to get different output on all the bands, but it easily generates 1.5 kW across most of the bands. Some of the more common bands that can be a little trickier, you know, you have to really push it hard, which I don't like doing, to hit that 1.5K true output. And you'll see that, so we'll get into it here. So enough of the babbling. You've got the URLs here. This is primarily to show whoever buys this amplifier its working condition, and then to I'll leave it on YouTube as a reference of the just the amazing quality that Tokyo High Power put into their amplifiers. They were also into the medical RF business, and so the quality of the amplifiers were like a commercial piece of medical gear, so highly regulated, and the components on the inside are top-notch. Just a very clean setup. Operates very quietly, and we'll get into that. So enough of me. We're gonna kind of move things around here. I'll minimize this here, and I'm clicking on the wrong screen. Let's see here. Just kind of ad hoc here. Just some quick pictures. Let's see that I took today, and again, these will be in the links. So just quickly to go through the condition, you can see the front panel. There's a teeny tiny nick in the bezel there, and other than that, it's pretty pristine. Here's the powder coating on the external case, and the outside wire mesh shield here for the fan exhaust is one I put in. The other one had been pushed on and things, so just full disclosure, I don't want any question around what you're getting here. But I'm trying to remember the original color of the main case. It was a little lighter, but I went with this nice matte black powder coat. I mean, so it's a rock hard finish, and of course all the screws and everything are original. So here we'll just click through a few of these pictures here. Again, just another angle, give you an idea of the condition. I just took these today. By the way, it's July 15th, and I'm digressing here, but the WRTC 2018 just finished this morning, North America. So I worked like 250 guys. I did several hours, 4 or 5 hours. Anyway, so hence this is old. It's 2018. So we'll go through some more pictures here. Had some reflection in the window there. Upstairs, and here you can see the serial number. As I mentioned, I'm assuming that this was number 17. You can see right here, and so you can see the FCC complies, the compliance there. Max power in 100 watts, which you'll never do that. Just a bigger shot there. I'm not aware of any USB control software, but if you plug in the USB connection, it does create an FTDI chipset serial port in Windows 10, for example, and I assume this DB9 is just a parallel into that. So if somebody could decode the software, do the software, they could figure out that part of it, which I didn't do. The control connection here is where you input the band data, the binary encoded band data, the typical Yaesu band data. And I'll include a K3, K3S band data control cable, which is hooked up for this demo here too. There's 2 tuners that were manufactured by Tokyo. The one for the previous amp, the 1.5K FX, I believe, will work just fine automatic with this amplifier. And then they actually manufactured a new tuner, which I doubt very many were made, that is made to match up with this amplifier. It's very similar to the other auto tuner. The select is for the different cat control. Number 1 would be the Kenwood setting, I believe, and so I was using that with the band control data, and I can't remember if I was pumping in the serial feed or not. I think it was just the 4 control lines, the 4 bits for the band control data, and it has remote capabilities, and then a DC out here for accessories, the amplifier, I assume. The dual fuses for the power supplies, and the 240 AC. And incidentally, it automatically will switch down to 110, 120 volts, and I think it'll operate down at like 90 volts AC. So pretty good on the portable side. There are fans on the power supplies on the inside, and then this fan here is an AC fan. It's very quiet and spins up and spins down rapidly as the heat on the PA pallet gets hotter, and I suspect you'll be able to hear that on the amp. So 2 antenna outputs and 1 antenna input. You control the antenna outputs with the switch on the front, you'll see that. And then the key end, ALC in, which I'm not using with the K3, and then the ALC adjust. Anyway, enough of that, just closer shots on those. Again, some minor little scratches there at the ground post. And another angle shot, and there's the bottom. There was a little scratch here. I assume maybe something was under it when the original owner maybe moved it around a little bit. And here's the cable I made, which I'll include for the lucky soul that buys this. And this is, I believe, is a photocopy of the manual that I purchased from the gentleman that was running the estate sale. So I think that was, on the cord I did put a Mix 31 2.4-inch ferrite on the cord. Probably didn't need it, but I put it there anyway. I'll include that in the cell. So with that, let's minimize this. Let's make me a little bit smaller here. Not the desktop. There we go. I'm gonna kind of put me down over here on the left side. Okay. And then we're going to turn on, to do this demo, I'm going to turn on second camera, which is the amplifier. Let's put that up here. The light's not the best. So I've got a camera over here, as you can see right here. Here is the amplifier. So you can see my hand in front of the other camera there. And here's the front of the amp. And there's a lot of reflections on it there, so don't let that worry you. And we'll power it up here just to give you an idea. Get it going. And before I do that, let me just quickly show you. I'll be going through an LP700, so you'll be able to see and I'll probably just use the software for the LP700. And so the couplers for the LP700 are over here. You've got the low power coupler and the high power coupler, and I've got the focus fixed. I'm not going to worry about that. And then up here we've got a kilowatt Tourmaline Bird dummy load that will handle a lot of key down on this, even at 1500 watts. So that will be the dummy load that I'll be transmitting into for the load. So whoever's dead serious about buying this, you'll be able to email me with any questions, things like that. So let's see, and I think I got the focus adjusted pretty well for that. And so everything's working on the amp that I'm aware of. I didn't find anything wrong with it, and I'm going to make me even smaller down here. And let's see, let's fire on the amp. And when the amp powers up, it kicks the fans on, in like a high mode, and then they come back down. I assume some effort to kick dust off them or something. So there's the amp came on. You saw the LED here when the fan is spinning. For the PA palette, that'll come on. You can see the LEDs came on the meters, and the camera just doesn't pick it up that great. Again, ad hoc video here. And I should probably do this, and I hate to power this on and off a lot. There, that's a little bit better there. So here's the LCD display. Backlight works fine on it. The K3, which I'll turn the camera on the K3 here shortly too, so you can see the power drive of the K3 is driving the band selection there. So if I change bands, you're going to see, I went from 160 to 80 meters there. You can see that. Let's power back off, and you'll see the self-test that the amplifier goes through when I power it on. So power on is quick, and you're ready to roll right with 1.5 kW. So pretty cool amplifier, and for the price that this is going to go at, you just can't. I just can't see it. You beating this for the amplifier. Treated properly, it could last decades, right? The MOSFETs if taken care of, which I haven't used it that much. I have run it through its paces, not overdriving it or getting crazy or anything, but I have used it across the bands and really enjoyed using this amplifier. So you've got, you know, operate, standby, the high and low output for the voltage driving the PA palette, I assume. And then you've got this controls the right meter here, so the amperage draw, ALC. Wow, I'm having a hard time. The voltage, I assume, and this is reflected, or I have to look at the manual. I can't remember. I should have gone through that. On the LEDs, you've got on the air, the fan when it comes on. ID is a warning light when you're starting to draw over the recommended amperage. And then protection, PROT, is if it goes into a protected state. And it's highly protected. And if you're, this camera, I don't have gray here. If you're familiar operating with QRO solid state amplifiers, they'd like to have a good match, obviously. So if you're not using a resonant antenna, you'll want a good tuner. And, you know, make sure you've got a good, you know, match, ideally 2 to 1 or better. Ideally like 1.5 to 1, I would recommend. So then over here you've got some of these switches show state in the LCD, so that the antenna selection changes there. You can see antenna A, antenna B. I don't have anything on antenna B right now. And then this is for the transceiver control, the CAT control. Manual if you're going to use manual band selection. I'll be in auto, right? So it doesn't matter. If you're in auto, as you change bands on your transceiver, it'll automatically follow your band. So let's get fun. Let's get down to the fun part, right? Okay, so we got the amplifier on. We'll put it up over here. I'm going to get a virtual meter for my LP700, and it flashes a little bit, but this will be easier for you to see. And with recording in 4K, that's as big as that's going to get right there. So I'll kind of drop it up there. And the other camera I have will be on the K3. Just to show you the LP700 real quick here, if you can. It's right here, right? So if I key the amplifier, which is in standby right now. So what you're going to see here on the LP700, which is, you know, very accurate with the couplers and everything being right up on that. It's a N8 LP, Larry Phipps, right? LP700, that's the bigger one. And so what you're going to see on the screen is identically what you're seeing down here. But this will just give you the true power output. We won't rely on the meter of the Tokyo, so you'll be seeing the actual power output here, okay? So I think I got that covered. I'm not known for my verbose videos here, so you might have to fast forward or do something like that. So let me get another camera on here, and this camera is the K3S down here. Let's just see what's going to be best here. Make that guy a little bit bigger, the amplifier a little bigger so I can see the meters. And oh, what's the best here? I'm challenged here with my OBS Studio. Let's see. Bring this guy down right here. And there we go. That's good. That's pretty good. So the K3S here is just to my left, so you can see my hand coming in here on the K3, and so again, you can see on the K3, you can see what the LP700 is showing on the SWR on the right and the power input on the left. So it's, you know, 13 watts there. If we get down to 10 watts. The K3 is showing 10 watts, the LP700 is showing 12 watts. And let's just go through the bands and you'll get an idea. It's hot today on the amplifier. It's showing 27 degrees centigrade, and I really haven't operated it today, so that this will give you an idea as we go through the bands how hot the PA heatsink is in that on those MOSFETs in there. So, all right, let's put it in operate here, and we are on low power here. We're just down on 1.8 megahertz, and so now you're seeing, with about 12 watts in, 400 watts out, and I'm on peak hold here. On the meter, it's peak hold. If we can go to tune, you'll see it adjust a little more rapidly. So I'm going to leave it on the peak hold, I think, for these demos. So just on 100, and I mean, I don't, this is not scripted. So if we go to tune here, there's with 15 watts drive on low power. And so you're, as I crank it up there on 160 meters with, I'm getting a kilowatt out with 27, right around 27 watts drive. So you can start to hear the fan wind up there a little bit. Now that's on the low power output. If I go to high power output, we go back to tune. So now on 15 watts roughly, we get up at 30 watts, we're at 1400 watts out, and right at 40 watts we're just at legal limit there. And of course you could keep going, but so there you go, that's on 160 meters at 40 watts. Kick the tune off, come back to 40 watts on CW. So there you go. So that's 160 meters, 40 watts drive. I don't think I'm missing anything here. So let's drop back to low on the amplifier. We're going to come back here. You'll see when I change bands on the K3, it's not the greatest picture, but you'll see that we change up to 80. I'm just going to do the main bands and the work bands, and this will get laborious for some of you, but whoever buys this will be a full disclosure. You can also see that the temperature has creeped up to 40 degrees centigrade with what I was doing there on 160 meters. So now we're on 80 meters just down on the CW portion of the band, and let's see what we get. We're on low on the amplifier. Back to the meters here, and we're on the low voltage. So I'm going to kick it into tune here. So there you're getting 600 watts with 15 watts drive. And so on the low voltage, get a kilowatt right around 52 watts drive. Stop that. Go to high power output. And now let's see what it takes for 1.5 kW output. Takes a little bit more on 80 meters here, and this is well within the spec. So it's right at 100 watts there on 80 meters. Okay. So if I change the drive to right around 100 watts on the K3S, so you're getting. I could actually change the mode here on the LP700, and here you will see, if I change to CW, so here you're seeing the waveform, the keying waveform. I have the K3S on as fast of this is probably way too much information, but the transmitter delay is right at 8 milliseconds, okay? Right at 8 milliseconds. And so here's your waveform. I'm not going to do this on every band, of course, but this is the waveform. So you can see, and we get up, I think that's around 40 words a minute, maybe a little less. So there you can see the beginning and ending of the waveform. That's with full legal limit out. We go to standby. Here's the waveform of just the K3. And my, okay. Anyway, gives you an idea there of the K3 compared to the amplifier being operate 80 meters with 100 watts drive. So let's see what we can do here. That's probably going to be let's go back to this mode here. I think it's going to be the best because you can see the drive that I've got from the K3, you know, give or take a few watts. So there's 80 meters. Let's move right on to the next band here, folks. The amplifier's in standby again. And we're going to go past 60 meters up to 40 meters. Again, just in the CW portion of the band. And we are in the standby. Let me turn the drive down on the K3 down to about 10-15 watts here. So we'll go to low power on the 2500FX. Go to tune. And oh, got to put it in operate. so here you're seeing with around 15 watts drive, 552. So I'm just driving it up here. As we approach 30 watts, we're going to get a kilowatt. Well, 35, 40 watts gives you a kilowatt in low power. So we'll go back to the high voltage on the output on the amplifier and tune it up again, starting at 15 watts and going on up. Looks like we're going to get 1.5 kW at around 61 watts on 40 meters. So now if I go to 61 watts on the K3S, here we'll kit. There you go. And here, if you want to see the amperage draw, I just changed the meter over here to ID, and you can see the amperage draw. And if that ID light starts coming on, it's just kind of a warning that you're getting close to the protection. It's very, very, very cautious on the protection. So, I mean, it's trying to keep you from shooting yourself in the foot. And the VD, that is the voltage to the MOSFETs, I assume, which is right around 50 volts. It's the, well, you can read in the manual, but that's the voltage, right? So you can watch the voltages. So if you're looking at the, you know, this meter here, you're going to see that the voltage on the power supplies are not dropping as I key full legal limit on 40 meters here. And just for kicks and giggles, let's compare the maybe you've been watching it on other bands. Let's compare the power output here on the left to the LP700, and it's pretty good. So if we get up to 1500 watts out on the LP700, you can see pretty darn close there on the meter. So usually there's a little variance. It's harder to create a power meter inside the amplifier that technically is as accurate as what you're going to get with a coupler-based meter, you know, on the output coax. So I'm digressing a little bit here. Let's go. I'll just leave that on the second meter on the amperage draw for the power supplies. So we've gone through 40 meters. Let's go up to the next band. I'm going to go back to low power output voltage on the amplifier. And so here's 30 meters. I'm in a dummy load. That's good. Okay. I have noticed on 30 meters, they may have some protection right around or above a kilowatt. Not that I ever have transmitted more than 200 watts output on 30 meters, right? But I have into a dummy load. that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So here we'll tune it with 15 watts on the low voltage, which typically US ham would do. Wait a minute here. There we go. So you're getting with 15 watts in, you're getting 500 watts out. So I'm turning the power down here to, we're down onto the main amplifier on the K3S. So to get 200 watts out on CW takes about, you know, just over 7 watts drive, somewhere right around that. So let's go up here into the dummy load. We're on the low voltage. You can get a kilowatt with 35 watts, okay? And on the low voltage, you can get up 1100 watts. I'm just not going to push it on 30 meters. We will go to the high voltage, so the high power output there. Tune 15 watts, and you may be able to get 15. I guess you can get 1500. Maybe it was the match I had on my antenna. So there's 53 watts drive. There's a full non-legal limit on 30 meters, 10 megahertz. So back to low. I'll just leave it in operate, and we're going to move up to the next band. So the workhorse band, 20 meters now, as you can see, and of course the amplifier has been switching as we have gone, and the amplifier does have a built-in frequency counter. So even if you didn't have the cat control hooked up, which I would recommend the cat control, you want to get the amplifier in the band so all the filters and everything are selected before you start transmitting. But if you don't, you can just bump, you know, your key, the frequency counter, and the amplifier, like all the modern amplifiers will these days, will figure out what frequency on and switch to the right, you know, filter selections and bandpass filtering at the amplifier level. So 20 meters. Let's just go low power, 15 watts drive, and you're seeing 435 watts. Let's just kick it up to a kilowatt here on the low voltage, and that's right around, just right around 50 watts there, it looks like. So I'm going to stop that. We're going to go to the high power. Okay, look at my hand can be in 2 places at the same time. There's a trying to be funny. It's probably not very funny. Okay, so we're on high power now on the amplifier. So we're going to go 15 watts drive and see what it takes to drive 1500 watts here. 60, 70, like 80 meters. You're going to have to get up to close to 100 watts here to drive full 1500 watts on this amplifier. Not quite as efficient. So if I manually go, let's look at a waveform here on 20. I'll just go up to 95 watts thereabouts. Do a little keying. So there we're getting a little bit beyond the legal limit. Now you can see that did you see over here the ID light was coming on 20 meters here? So if you read the manual, it says it's not, you know, they're just saying, hey, you're kind of pushing the limits of the amperage draw here. So if I turn down the draw here, see, I was maybe overdriving it there. Yeah. See, so we've dropped about maybe a little over 100 watts, but the protection circuits, or the programming in the amplifier to keep that amperage draw warning light from coming on, I'm right around 55 watts. But the peak is still, 1.4 kW. So, on the other end, you'd never know. But just again, full disclosure, you know exactly what you're getting here. So right at 50 watts, that little warning light stops coming on. So 50 watts to 100 watts drive. I doubt that was very linear on the driving there of the amp. Let's see. I'm digressing a little bit here. Just playing with the SB700 or the LP700. Okay, let's go to the next band here. Go down to low power. It's just the same routine. We're going up to 18 megahertz, 17 meters. And I'm in the band there. Let's see here. The drive's at, around 15 watts, like the tune level. So we tune it here on low. So here you're going to get 15 watts. You're right around 400. What am I doing here? On low, get a kilowatt with around 40 watts drive. Change it to high. Same routine. To get 1500 watts, I'm up around 60 watts drive, right around there. Kick it back up to, well, let's just say 55 here, and I'll key it. 60. Waveform. So there you can see the QRO waveform. Okay. And what's the temperature at with all of our testing here? You can see it's 47 degrees centigrade. Not bad. I mean, you can hear the fan there. Hopefully you can hear that in the background. My microphone's over here on my left, so I'm not super close to the amplifier. And by the way, the exhaust comes out the top there, right there. So it sucks in the back, comes out the top, including the power supplies on the left here. You can see the venting for the two power supplies. All right. Okay, going to the next band. So 15 meters, 21 megahertz. A little low. And let's see here. Tune it. Low, we're getting, let's see here. Oh, I've got a, so 15 watts on 21 megahertz, or around 356 out. Get a kilowatt out. Higher drive here on 15 meters. So 84 watts to get a kilowatt there. We go to high voltage on the amp. Back to tune, and we'll drive it up. And if I can't quite get 1500 watts, I'm not going to go crazy here. But I don't think I'll have a problem. So 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 watts here to get, you're up to 1.45 kW. And I'm going to drive it up here. So here we're at 90 watts on the drive here and key it. So if you push it, you start to push it probably past its linearity. So 15 meters, you're going to have to drive a little harder. Again, the amplifier is designed to go up to 100 watts drive, so it's not, that's just the way it was designed. And each amp will be a little bit different, likely. So that's 15 meters. Back to low power on the amp. Let's go up to 12 meters, 24 megahertz. I hope I'm in the right area there. So low power, we're going to key it up. And 15 watts, we got 350 watts out. And let's see, 80, 90 watts. And right around 100 watts on low, you're going to get about a kilowatt, maybe a little less. Go to the high. And we'll crank it up here past a kW. So similar to the previous band, with the 100 watts drive, you're getting about 1.25 kW out. We'll key it with 100 watts drive. I'm not going to kill it here. All right, moving on to the next band. The temperature is 50 degrees centigrade on the mains there. You can see it comes down quick, and the fans wind down quick too. Oh, hey, while I'm at it, QSK. Now you're going to hear a relay. Well, let me turn this off So the only relay you're going to hear is the amplifier, and the microphone's on the left, so it's not really close to the amplifier, but this gives you an idea of the relays. I forgot to do that on the other bands, but the one band is good enough here. So drop the drive back a little bit. Let me show you the waveform too on with QSK going at QRO. So there's a little bit of, I mean, it's not bad. You can see on that leading edge of the waveform there's a little bit of variation as compared to semi break-in. So if we go to semi break-in, so if you're running heavy QSK, you might want to turn up your transmit delay by a few milliseconds. That's all it takes for this amplifier. In fact, I could do that. Go in, let's turn the transmit delay up to like 10 milliseconds. Go back to QSK. Yep, that cleaned it right up. So they're on that leading edge there, just for reference. Okay. So probably you're better off with this amplifier running about 9 or 10 milliseconds of transmit delay as far as when your exciter keys the amplifier as compared to when the exciter puts RF on the line. Okay. Okay, back to low power. We got a couple more bands and then the video's done, thank goodness. Whoever's buying this thing though, they will appreciate this, I hope. So here, 10 meters. Let's go, we're on low power on the amplifier. We're going to tune up with 15 watts. And I've got the meter in the wrong mode there. There we go, 15 watts. We're getting a little over 300 watts out. So drive it up to a kilowatt on the low voltage on the power supply. And you're going to get right under a kilowatt at 100, around 100 watts drive there, it looks like. Let's go to the high voltage. Key it up again. Of course, as the amplifier warms up, it's not going to be as efficient on the power output. You're going to lose a percentage of the power output. So kW at 55 watts or so, and we drive it on up. You can kind of see when it stops being linear there, right around on 10 meters here on this frequency anyway. It might be better up higher in the band too. I'm showing everything down in the CW portions of the band, so I'll just keep it here right at 75 watts. So here it's keyed down, right? And you can see the temperature output is still at 50 C. I'm going to keep it there, and you can see actually as those finals heat up, you're going to see the power output drop a little bit. So there the temperature went up to 51 C, and the fans increased. So every degree there you'll hear those fans come up. They really don't get bad till you get up to like 60 C. So you can see it's pretty efficient on the cooling. It's hot, right? We're in the middle of July and it's not that cool down in my shack here. So there, 52 degrees C. And here, let's just take it off there, and then you'll hear those fans wind down as it cools there. It goes down to 51. And here, I'll just leave it on. I'll leave it over there for now. So that's 10 meters. Let's go to 6 meters. Okay, now we're on 15 megahertz, and I am more in the middle of the band there, up in the SSB portion of the band on CW. I'm just going to leave it there. And so low voltage, just switched it to low voltage there. You actually can see that on the display. So high, low on the LCD on the amplifier. So on the lower right side there. So we're going to tune up 15 watts. And 15 watts on 6 meters gives you 220 watts out. Drive this up. I don't know that they claim more than a kW, right? And I wouldn't get crazy pushing this on 6 meters. So I'm going to leave it at 90 watts drive there. On the low voltage is around 850 watts. Okay. We'll go to the high voltage. Tune it up 15 watts. Gives you close to 400 watts. And as we go up, I'm going to stop at a kW, I think, or maybe just a little. So 60 watts drive, 75 watts drive is giving you 1100 watts, and that's good enough for me on 6 meters. You'll want a good match on 6 meters if you're going to run QRO. So this will give you a good idea of the temperatures, because it's going to heat up a little more. So there's 57 degrees, 58 degrees with a kW on key down, 6 meters. And so you'll see the power drop a little as the amp warms up. So there's 60C. You get an idea of the fan. So I'm going to unkey, and then we'll do a little CW. I'll put the drive up to 60 watts. So there's a kW on 6 meters. Let's look at the waveform. It looks great. Just for fun, I'm going to kick that down to 9 milliseconds on the transmit delay on the K3S. That still looks great. So let's go back to 8 and see if we see any artifacts there at the beginning of the leading edge. It looks clean on 6 meters here. Oh, gotta go to QSK. Yeah, see, it's still there. Not surprised. So digressing here a little bit. Let's go back to 9 milliseconds on the transmit delay. It cleans up right at 9 milliseconds. So K3S, the fastest you can go there is 8 milliseconds. So adding 1 millisecond is negligible. Yeah, maybe 10 would be best. So I would recommend, if you get this amplifier, make sure you have at least 10 milliseconds delay on the TX delay. Again, key down to RF on the exciter. Yeah, it looks great. Okay, that's 50 megahertz, folks. Maybe I'm talking myself out of selling it, but beautiful amplifier, guys. I think that covers it. If you have any questions, you know, somebody that's serious, shoot me an email. You can find it there in the on my channel. I got a bunch of other videos, verbose crazy videos that only ham nerds will get into. But I hope you enjoyed watching my little demo here, and good luck to whoever gets this amplifier. I'm sure I'm going to miss it, but I like playing around with new technology and trying amplifiers out. I still haven't got to the point where I want to get rid of that SPE 2KFA though. It's a nice pair of amplifiers here. 73 for now, guys. Enjoy.